It was the summer of 1983, and a young man named Rick Hoyt lay in a hospital bed, tubes running in and out of his body, struggling just to breathe. Rick was born with a rare condition called cerebral palsy that left him unable to control his body. The doctors told his parents, Dick and Judy Hoyt, that Rick's brain was severely damaged and that he would be a lifelong vegetable with an intellect of a 2-month-old baby. They advised the Hoyts to institutionalize Rick because there was no hope for his improvement or recovery. Dick and Judy refused to accept this grim prognosis. They decided to raise Rick at home and give him every opportunity to live life to the fullest. When Rick was 11 years old, he was fitted with a computer that allowed him to communicate by tapping a head sensor to spell out words. And the first words Rick tapped out stunned everyone. Go Bruins. He was a huge fan of the Boston sports teams. As Rick grew up, he dreamed of being able to participate in sporting events like running a marathon. But his shattered body made that seem like an impossible fantasy. That all changed one fateful day in 1977 when Rick was 15 years old. His father, Dick, a former military man known for his incredible feats of endurance, had the crazy idea to push Rick in his wheelchair and run a marathon together. Their first race was the 5-mile fun run during Boston's MC Indoor Marathon. Dick pushed 99-pound Rick the whole way while Rick provided encouragement by tapping out jokes and words of motivation on his computer device mounted to his wheelchair. Despite people staring and jeering at this unconventional father-son team, Rick typed, "Dad, when we were running, it felt like I wasn't disabled anymore." From that day on, Team Hoyt was born. Dick pushed Rick in a custom racing wheelchair in over 1,000 endurance events, including 72 full marathons, 6 Ironman triathlons, and a 3,735-mile cross-country road race. At every event, people were stunned to see this tenacious father towing his disabled son for miles and miles, while Rick spelled out words of encouragement like, "Go, Dad, go." Rick once said, "All I need is for someone to give me a chance and not write me off." And his father, Dick, gave him that chance, seeing past Rick's severe physical limitations and disabilities to the indomitable human spirit within. Together, they shattered every conceivable boundary on what a disabled person could accomplish. Rick showed the world that nothing limits your capabilities except the limits you accept in your mind. The incredible story of Team Hoyt powerfully illustrates the theme of my speech today, that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, no matter what challenges or obstacles stand in your way. Your mindset determines your potential for greatness, not your circumstances or perceived limitations. Throughout history, the human mind has accomplished feats that were once thought impossible. When the ancient Greek sculptor Phidias revealed his massive ivory and gold statue of Zeus at Olympia in 435 BC, depicting the king of the gods enthroned at 40 feet tall, the common people were struck, believing it was the actual god come to life. The human mind had conceived and created something greater than they could fathom. 15 centuries later, in 1662, a young man named Blaise Pascal imagined creating a symbol on paper to represent the idea of nothing. This led him to invent one of the most revolutionary mathematical notations ever conceived, the humble zero that made our modern computational world possible. So the simple mark born from imagination upended everything. Then in 1903, 2 bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio, Buell Buer and Orville Wright, were mocked and ridiculed for their dream of building a flying machine heavier than air. Yet these visionary brothers persisted until their miraculous 12-second first flight at Kitty Hawk, defying the beliefs of even the most brilliant aeronautical scientists of their day. My point is this: explorers, inventors, artists, and geniuses who have expanded human knowledge and potential throughout history did not allow their current reality or the skepticism of others to limit their imaginations and dreams. They simply refused to be constrained by the conventional wisdom of their day. Your mind is infinitely more powerful than you realize. As Dr. Bruce Lipton, one of the pioneers of epigenetics, says, your mind is a very powerful thing. What you think, you become. Modern neuroscience has shattered the old dogma that our brain is a static, hardwired machine that we have little control over. Instead, we now understand that our brain is remarkably plastic, continually remolding its neural pathways based on the thoughts we consistently think and the behaviors we repeatedly demonstrate. You see, every time you have a thought, it's not just a meaningless electrical impulse in your noggin. Your thoughts trigger genes to release potent neurotransmitters and hormones that rewire your brain's vast neural networks. And like a meadow constantly remolding itself based on the footsteps taken across it, your brain physically reshapes itself based on your habitual thoughts and behaviors. This amazing process is called neuroplasticity, and it means you can quite literally reinvent yourself by changing your mindset and taking control of your mental programs. As the pioneering neuroscientist Michael Merzenich says, the highest actualizability resides in the brain itself. Everything that comprises consciousness is based on a massive replicating, reorganizing process. Think about that for a moment. You are not condemned by your genetics, childhood programming, disabilities, or past traumas to stay the same forever. Through awareness and new intentional behaviors, you can rewrite the neural code that controls your capabilities, health, and personal reality. You can break free of limiting patterns that may have held you back from achieving your grandest visions, and become a new edition of yourself with the mindset of a limitless hero who achieves dizzying heights. But to do so requires work. You must become aware of your unconscious thought patterns and beliefs that create boundaries in your life, and then diligently practice more empowering, limitless thinking by disrupting those old neural patterns while installing new pathways of possibility. The great achievers throughout history have always mentally rehearsed their future success before achieving their breakthroughs in the real world. As the pioneering sports psychologist Maxwell Maltz discovered, mental practice alone produced astonishing improvements in athletes' performance, activating the same brain regions as physical practice. When you vividly visualize and rehearse an experience in your mind, you are quite literally incepting a new neurological reality into your brain's neural networks. Mental imagery has the power to alter the physical brain, creating efferent control signals to guide the body in a new direction. This is precisely what the monastic practitioners of Buddhist mind training have done for millennia, strengthening particular brain circuits through focused meditation to cultivate superhuman capabilities like laser focus, emotional mastery, and heightened awareness. In the same way, when you consciously rehearse future visions of yourself achieving your greatest potential, feeling the emotions, sights, sounds, and sensations of that reality with utmost conviction, you are literally installing new neural networks that align with that vision. Your brain begins absorbing and embodying the new mind movies playing across its neural skyline. In his remarkable studies at Harvard Medical School, Dr. Ted Kapchuk demonstrated the immense power of belief by curing Parkinson's patients with placebos that they thought were real anti-Parkinson's drugs. Their brains created the same neurological and symptomatic changes as if they had taken the real medication based solely on their beliefs. Your belief patterns shape your reality more than photons and particles do. When you adopt beliefs that nothing limits your capabilities, you begin liberating your mind from self-imposed boundaries. As Einstein said, the human mind has first to construct forms independently before we can find them in things. New beliefs install new neurological realities, and these new mind patterns then unleash a host of biochemical processes in your body, activating specific genes, releasing appropriate neurotransmitters and hormones that make those changes physiologically real. This is the ultimate manifestation of mind over matter. Your thoughts and beliefs quite literally shape the material structure of your brain and body. This is why the world's greatest minds understood the immense creative power of our thoughts. What we think, we become. All that we are is the result of what we thought. Adopt beliefs that free your highest potential instead of clinging to limited thinking. Rewrite your mind's perceptions of what's possible by mentally rehearsing visions of your greatest ambitions fulfilled. Feel what it will feel like, hear what you'll hear, see what you'll see with vivid clarity in your mind's eye. Whenever you catch your mind falling back into old limited narratives, consciously interrupt those mental movies and switch the projector reels to visions of your highest success. Do this repeatedly, and your brain will take those mind movies as instructions for remodeling its entire architecture in alignment with your highest ideals. Now, someone might object, sure, elite athletes or Buddhist monks can reshape their brains through mental imagery. But what about regular people like me? I'm not wired for that kind of mind mastery. Well, here's something you may not realize. Your brain is already a phenomenal manufacturing engine for placebo responses based on your thoughts and beliefs. You're just not consciously harnessing that power yet. In his book Placebo, Dr. Morton Walker shares Examples of patients spontaneously healing everything from cancer to paralysis after they simply believed the placebo sugar pills they took were real medication. These folks didn't have any special enlightened mind training. They just unleashed their innate ability to self-heal through their beliefs. One of the most stunning examples of the placebo effect comes from a study at the University of Colorado. Researchers gave patients suffering from extreme full-body burns a placebo, telling them it was a groundbreaking new pill that would release their natural pain-relieving and healing compounds. Incredibly, the patients' bodies responded by creating far more endorphins, endogenous opioids, and endorphins, natural chemicals 200 times more powerful than morphine for relieving pain. Within hours, these severely burned patients were almost completely pain-free simply by believing they had taken a powerful healing drug. The placebo effect demonstrates that your body is already wired to manifest profound physiological transformations based on where you direct your beliefs and thoughts. You don't have to become a Zen monk or martial arts master. You simply need to become extraordinarily aware of your mental programs while focusing your beliefs on boundless possibility. As Dr. Candace Pert, who discovered the opiate receptor in 1972, states, your body is your subconscious mind. Our minds and bodies are inextricably intertwined. Thoughts, feelings, and consciousness braid into biochemical events. Every cell in your body is inscribed with the divine wisdom to achieve remarkable regeneration and thriving when you provide the fertile mind soil for empowering beliefs to take root. In fact, based on their discoveries around stem cells, many geneticists now believe the body was designed to continually renew and heal itself back to its original blueprint of perfection. We just have to remove the limitations in our minds to unleash this hidden regenerative potential. Your brain's mirror neurons are already wired to pick up and model the mindsets and behaviors of others you idolize. Like a human photocopier, your neurology will absorb and match whatever you focus upon with conscious repetition, whether positive or negative. So right now, choose to model yourself after the rare heroes who defied conventions to manifest their greatness against all odds. The Elon Musks, Oprah Winfrey's, Michael Jordan's, Serena Williams, Nelson Mandela's of the world have their visions of possibility imprint into your neural architecture. But ultimately, the greatest role model you can become is that of your highest envisioned self. For as the great mythologist Joseph Campbell said, we must be willing to get rid of the life we've planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. I know there's some of you here today who feel limited by past wounds, physical constraints, disabilities, financial lack, or other challenges that seem to scream this is as good as it gets. Some of you may feel you've missed your window of opportunity and that you're just too far gone down the road of your current circumstances to become that highest idealized version of yourself you've imagined. To which I say, that's just an illusion. A spell you're under, cast by the limited reality you've accepted and continue choosing into. For in truth, you are an infinite upswirl of pure potentiality. The you of 5 years ago no longer exists. That was a past life. And likewise, the idealized you that you're striving toward is already taking shape through the choices and beliefs you're installing today. One of the main characters in Dan Millman's spiritual classic way of the peaceful warrior is an old gas station attendant who everyone in town sees as simply an elderly, eccentric weirdo. But unbeknownst to those sleepwalkers, this humble station attendant is actually a lifelong seeker who has mastered incredible mind-over-matter abilities. In one famous scene, this enlightened guru reveals his true identity to the young college student he's been secretly mentoring. The kid is stunned as the so-called weirdo transforms before his eyes from a feeble old man into a vibrant, muscular, and ageless being radiating blinding white light and wisdom. For the old man was just a disguise this being had chosen to temporarily become in that local reality. This metaphysical idea is central to the ancient Hermetic wisdoms. The notion that you are a continual up spiral of infinite potential. Every microsecond, you are recreating yourself anew based on the thoughts, beliefs, behaviors you're choosing to identify within that eternal moment. Your perceived limitations and concrete present reality are just an illusion, for reality is an abstraction that only exists based on your thoughts about it. So do not fall for the ego trap of clinging to the dead past or enshrining the current version of yourself as if it were set in stone. Have you ever looked at old photos of yourself and barely recognized that former self you once were? Your consciousness is that fluid, always evolving based on your focus and attachments. Free yourself from the mental shackle of your life circumstances and conditions. They only have as much power over your future as you choose to give them through your focus and energy. The past no longer exists, and what you think of as your concrete present is simply the residue of thoughts you decided to buy into. Your true essential nature is pure consciousness, the open dimension of all potential and possibility. From this vantage point, absolutely nothing limits your capabilities to recreate yourself anew in any way you choose. Not your DNA, childhood wounds, education level, poverty, disabilities, age, or anything else. This opportunity to constantly reinvent yourself as an up spiral of pure potential is your greatest superpower for achieving the wildest dreams and visions. So dream massive, luminous, godly visions for yourself. Feel the feelings of your future success so vividly that your body has no choice but to shift into a new biological rhythm that starts harmonizing with that grandest vision. Become so disciplined at rehearsing that ideal future self that you make it impossible for the old version of you to keep existing. As we discussed earlier, the cutting edge of neuroscience shows that thoughts are real electrical signals that cause molecular changes at a fundamental quantum field level. Your beliefs literally create biochemical events that can rewrite your biology from the subatomic particle level up. This idea that thoughts are an actual energy field influencing physical reality is not just some new age conjecture. It's backed by pioneers in multiple scientific disciplines, including Bruce Lipton, John Hagelin, Amit Goswami, and William Tiller, who headed up the science of studying the relationship between human consciousness and reality at Stanford University's Department of Materials Science. According to their research, our consciousness exists in a generative order that supersedes and creates the physical world of atoms and molecules. Nobel laureate physicists have shown that particles don't possess objective properties until they're observed by consciousness. Your beliefs act as conscious operators, literally writing new properties into the field of reality. This is why Albert Einstein said reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one, that you can become anyone you choose to be and achieve anything you set your mind to because your consciousness dictates physical reality, not the other way around. When you reprogram your mind with visions of what's possible, you literally become a laser beam burning through and reshaping the physical world to reflect those intentions. But you must believe wholeheartedly in what you envision, with every cell vibrating in energetic resonance with you. As neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Newberg has shown with brain imaging, when monks enter states of peak enlightenment, every neuron in their brain becomes synchronized into a harmonic unison that creates dramatic physical, mental, and spiritual transformations. So don't just casually visualize your dreams as fantasies you half-heartedly want. Burn those visions into the core of your psyche, emotionally bonding with them until they become burning obsessions synchronizing every aspect of your being. It's not enough to just visualize your biggest dreams and goals in your mind's eye. To truly install new neural codes that will reshape your biology and reality, you must immerse yourself fully in the visceral feeling state of having already achieved those visions. Think of it like this. Let's say you have a goal of running a marathon, but you've never run more than a mile in your life. Just picturing yourself crossing the finish line isn't going to be enough to override the disbelief woven into your neural networks and identity as a non-runner. But what if you spent 20-30 minutes every morning before getting out of bed vividly reminiscing about a future experience of having already completed that marathon? You bring to mind the sounds of the cheering crowds and announcers calling your name as you sprinted across the finish, drenched in sweat, but elated. You tune into the feel of the metal draped around your neck, the pride and accomplishment swelling in your chest. If you viscerally relive that experience in your body again and again while breathing life into it with all 5 senses, hearing the sounds, feeling the bodily sensations, smelling the aromas, then slowly but surely, you'd begin installing new neural networks aligned with being a marathoner. Those new neurological codes would start triggering different neurochemicals that reinforce the runner identity until your body's biology began rewriting itself, increasing cardiovascular fitness, endurance, and stamina, all from intentionally shaping your body's inner environment through immersive mind rehearsal. You'd essentially be using your consciousness as Zen monks do, to induce full body transformations simply by focusing their awareness in that generative realm where thoughts become biological reality. Now I can hear the skeptics thinking, but come on, just because I vividly daydream or visualize something, There's no way it can create real physiological changes. My body would know I'm just play acting and not actually doing anything physical. Well, here's the mind-bending paradox, that your body can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and one you're physically living through in 3D reality. The same neural networks are activated during both experiences. This is the fundamental basis for the placebo effect. When patients are given inert sugar pills, yet wholeheartedly believe they're taking real painkillers or healing medicine, their brains fire in the exact same patterns as if the medication were biologically active. And their bodies create real chemical and physiological effects as a result of those neural signals. In one study at UCLA, patients with severe Parkinson's disease were given placebos labeled as a cutting-edge new dopamine drug. After taking the fake pills, their brains registered a 200% increase in dopamine levels and their motor symptoms dramatically improved, all from simply believing they were taking real medication. So if your mind can't tell the difference between vividly rehearsed thoughts and external events and creates physiological effects from imagined reality, then you have the incredible power to become a sculptor of your own brain's neurology through disciplined mental practice and visualization. That's precisely what Jim Carrey did to manifest his success as a world-famous actor and comedian. For years when he was dead broke and living out of a beat-up Toyota, he would write himself mock checks for $10 million and act out being a globe-trotting A-lister, feeling the feelings and stepping into that mindset over and over. He vividly simulated that reality in his mind and body. And sure enough, through persistent faith and immersive mental rehearsal, he created that actuality for himself, accumulating over $300 million in his career. First by imprinting the neurological mind movies, and then by his brain orchestrating his biology, emotions, behaviors, and surrounding circumstances to align with that vision. Similarly, Oprah Winfrey has shared how as a young woman she would visualize in perfect detail being the host of her own wildly successful TV show, picturing the audience, set, and all the visceral elements vividly. She embodied that vision as if she were living it every waking moment. You must live from the energy of your intentional. Idealize visions with your entire being, not just visualize them as passing fantasies. Breathe life. To turn your biggest visions into physical reality, you can't just casually daydream about them. You must breathe fiery life into those mental rehearsals with every ounce of emotional energy you can muster. Think about it. When you vividly recall an empowering memory like your wedding day, getting that dream job, or an incredible achievement, don't you feel your heart swell? Your body creating the same chemical ecstasy as when you originally lived it? Your cells are fired up by the emotional intensity you invest into that memory. In the same way, when you vividly imagine your greatest future success, while layering in all the visceral emotions, physical sensations, and details, you're biowriting new neural codes that your body has no choice but to obey and manifest into physical form. The emotions you create from within are electromagnetic signals that talk to every cell in your body, turning on off different genetic way stations. Powerful emotions like gratitude, love, appreciation, and joy create a very different neurochemical, hormonal, and genetic reality than emotions like anger, fear, or resentment. When you bring sincere, heartfelt emotions to your visualizations, you're instructing your body to upregulate specific DNA sequences that start remodeling your biological architecture according to those emotional set points you've tuned into. In one famous study, Harvard researchers looked at the effects of happiness on gene expression of nearly 300 healthy people. They found that positive emotions like joy, vitality, and inner peace created a very different gene expressing fingerprint than negative mind states like fear, hostility, or general discontentment. The happy, positive people had a powerful anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antibody response going full force that prevented things like heart disease and cancer from ever taking root. They were optimized for health and thriving by their habitual positive mind states. Conversely, the negative, stressed out folks had their cellular armies standing down, unable to properly repair damaged cells, tissues, and organs. Their bodies were literally rusting and decaying from within based on the emotional energies they emanated most frequently. This is the power of bringing authentic emotion and energy into your visions. It encodes new biological set points that transform you from the subatomic cellular level up. As Dr. Candace Pert said, your body literally becomes how you think and feel. Elite athletes have long understood the necessity of overlaying intense emotion and visceral rehearsal on top of their mental visualization techniques. From boxing champions feeling the power in their fists as they envision knocking out opponents, to gymnasts embodying the grace and perfect form of their routines, the vividness of the mental movies matters immensely. If a gymnast simply watches their routine play out in their minds like a casual daydream, their bodies don't get nearly the same internal prompts and physiological ignition as when they move through the physical motions with congruent emotional intensity. In the same way, you must fire up the full-bodied emotions and visceral feelings you'll experience upon achieving your goals and dreams, not just replay a bland mental slideshow. Get your heart pounding, lungs heaving, tears welling up, or muscles twitching with excitement as you live through your future accomplishments with impassioned sincerity. That's what creates the internal cellular and hormonal shifts necessary for your body's biology to reorganize itself into alignment with those visions and emotions of living your highest success. Half-hearted visualizations powerless, but visions turbocharged with authentic emotions, sensations, and energy are truly miraculous in their ability to rewrite your physical reality. Not only do you need to breathe emotional authenticity into your visualizations, but you must also layer in the specific sounds, voices, and auditory textures you'll experience when living that future reality. Think about how watching a movie without sound completely changes the experience and energy. The emotive musical score, characters' voices, ambient noise, these are powerful components for activating congruent neurological patterns and physiological states within you. We have explored many of the scientific validated techniques for removing mental limitations and unleashing your inherent capabilities for greatness. From understanding neuroplasticity and your ability to rewrite your brain's neural architecture to harnessing the immense creative power of your consciousness through vividly rehearsed mental movies turbocharged with authentic emotion and visceral detail. We've seen how pioneers in multiple scientific fields have demonstrated that your thoughts quite literally reshape physical reality from the subatomic particle level up. That your beliefs and imagination act like conscious operators inscribing new biological software into the generative matrix of the universe itself. You now know that every cell in your body is energetically encoded to achieve remarkable regeneration and thriving when you provide the fertile mind soil for empowering beliefs and visions to plant themselves. And perhaps most importantly, you realize that the true frontiers of human potential lie in the infinite realm of your own consciousness. That essential dimension of pure potentiality from which all realities emanate and take form. So from this point forward, I implore you to take radical responsibility for the immense creative power you wield through the energy you emanate and the visions you choose to download into the quantum field. Become obsessed with dreaming of your highest successes, achievements, and visions on a cosmic scale. Feel those idealized futures viscerally unfolding from the core of your being as you mentally rehearse them into material existence. For your emotional sincerity and conviction. In those visions dictates the cosmic instructions your body then obeys to upgrade your entire biology. Be bold and audacious and envision yourself operating at a level that seems wildly out of reach based on your current circumstances. Allow your imagination to soar unfettered, unconstrained by past limitations of what you previously believed was possible. Whenever you catch your mind falling back into old narratives of doubt, fear, or disbelief, forcefully override those disempowering programs by injecting new mind movies of limitless possibility into your consciousness. But nothing external. No circumstance, challenge, or even your own ego limit the majestic visions you choose to encode as your new reality code. You are a creator being with divine abilities to author your own greatest story. So dream up the most epic, cosmic tales of achievement, joy, significance, impact, and unapologetic greatness. Embody and emote those boundless visions with every cell of your being. Immerse yourself in the emotional elation and tangible sensory details of already inhabiting those mind kingdoms of your own creation. Then watch in awe as your newly updated biosoftware automagically upgrades your physical reality to reflect those immaculate visions seared into your consciousness. You are a superhero with abilities to shape and reshape reality itself through the energy of your beliefs and intentions. But first, you must claim that power. Stop casting yourself in the role of a disempowered mortal confined by your history or surroundings. Your circumstances are simply parlor tricks, illusions of inevitability that disappear as quickly as they formed when your superconscious mind asserts its sovereignty over your personal matrix. So dream monumentally, Live uplifted by contagious enthusiasm for your ideals made manifest, and let your unlimited capabilities shine forth like a radiant beacon of inspiration for all. When you know that absolutely nothing can limit your true capabilities except for the limits you choose to accept in your mind, then you become unstoppable in achieving any vision your heart can conceive. By upgrading your beliefs to a limitless model of possibility, you unleash cosmic forces to bend all physical realities into alignment with your newly upgraded consciousness. The universe opens its floodgates to deliver whatever it must in order to uphold the upgraded visions you've inscribed into your field of potential. So go forth today as created beings in full.